Hey, what's up guys, it's MKBHD for the Droid Dog YouTube channel and DroidDog.com, and today we have a sort of an interesting question slash poll kind of video. As you can see by the title, this has to do with screen sizes, so what I have is a pretty wide open space here to talk about this. Now, as you're probably aware by now, as the Android fans and followers that we are, that when a new device comes out that is supposed to be a high-end device, it's supposed to be a really very well spec'd out device, we all sort of expect it to have a 4.3 inch screen. Things like the Droid X2 here, or say something like the Samsung Galaxy S2, or other really high-end phones have all come out with the 4.3 inch screen. And I have a pretty big hand and I can kind of reach the end. It's not very comfortable to reach the entire screen with a hand my size with a 4.3 inch screen. But a lot of people seem to like that 4.3 inch screen size. However, a lot of different phones have come out with a sort of variety that actually gets me thinking. All the way over here on the other end of the spectrum is the HP Veer 4G. It's a very small phone, as you can tell. It's running WebOS, not Android. But this actually has a 2.6 inch screen. And we'll go through all the resolutions in a second. But this is a pretty small device altogether that has a really small screen. Obviously, you can reach the entire screen no matter how you hold it. Very small display. So that's the opposite extreme. But then in between you have a whole bunch of devices that people seem to like, which is where I kind of want to bring up the question, what is your favorite screen size? And I'll reveal my favorite at the end. Over here on the left we also have the Zune HD, which is a 3.2 inch display. It's a little bit larger. You can also reach the entire display with pretty much any size hand, even if you have minuscule hands, as it is a pretty small display. Very thin and lightweight, but as you can tell, it's on the small end of the spectrum. Over here in the middle of the display category here, we have the Motorola Droid, the original Droid, which has a 3.7 inch display. This is kind of the sweet spot right now for last generation devices. As you can probably remember, the iPhone 4 will fit in around here with a 3.5 inch display, but we have the Motorola Droid here for comparison, and this is a pretty hefty sized phone coming in at 3.7 inches. And over here, to fill in the gap, we have the Droid Incredible 2, and the Incredible 2 actually has a 4.0 inch display. This is a very clean lines device, kind of reminds me of the iPhone if it did have a circular button down there, and people have asked me that, trust me. But this is a 4 inch display, and actually I'm going to go ahead and say that 4 inches is my favorite size of the display. I've reviewed the Samsung Fascinate, I've reviewed other 4 inch display phones, and I actually find that 4 inches is my favorite size. Now don't get me wrong, the QHD resolution of the Droid X is extremely nice, but what we're going to do is go ahead and fire up all these devices here and go to one website that is pretty indicative of the resolution, and that's Google.com. So see if we can get to Google on all these devices here. Now of course Google has recently redesigned their homepage to look a little bit different than it did before, but if we can get all the brightnesses down, you can see that there's a significant difference in the way that this one website looks on all these different devices. So you can see the way it looks here. So let's start with the Fascinate, or not the Fascinate, the Veer 4G. You can barely tell, but Google.com is extremely small there. You can barely even see it, even though it's a full desktop site. Then you start to get to this bigger phone where you have a whole bunch of blank space in the middle where you could possibly have more things, but with the 960 vertical resolution you really don't need to use all that space. That's a pretty good example of how all these different screen sizes work out. Again, what is your favorite screen size? Mine has actually shifted and tended to be the 4 inch display. I do like 4.3 inches, but it isn't as comfortable to operate as the 4 inch display has been for me. It doesn't feel too oversized, and I mean, if you're an iPhone owner, I don't know how you're still living down here. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below or in the bottom of this post. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And until next week, this has been MKBHD. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.